So we come back to here now. If I just take it to the more complicated part, sort of advanced use I would guess you'd call it, and then I think we're pretty much done. That's just a credits button, just to show the people who have helped us out and the highly respected members of the club. So yeah, that's that. That's a Facebook link. I won't bore you with that. I think we've all seen that before. And this one here is import and export. So if I just wiggle these around, you'll see in a moment that will change. So I just jump in, resets everything back to a given formation. Okay, so if this button's now enabled, once you change these sliders, this becomes disabled because it won't let you export or import stuff when you've still got kind of got data that you've changed. Put it like that. You'll understand once you get into the app. But yeah, if we import and export, we've got importing names, and we've got exporting steps. They're the complex bits. These are kind of the easy bits. But if I just go over to my text file now. Okay, so I've got a text file here, which is basically all the kind of load of unisex names. This is the kind. All the data is encrypted when it comes in and out on the import and export. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy that in from there. So literally grab this and press Control C. So you'd probably have this data off a website, off a social media page where someone's posted this stuff, or you posted it. You could have it in notes in your devices, in your iPad or your iPhone. There's lots of different ways you can obviously catch that data, but all I've done is put it on the clipboard, and these have now lit up. And just for the sake of this, I've done it this way. I'll show you why in a moment. But you click this little button here, and that now pops all the names in, pushes us back to here. If I actually move that up to 8 again, just to get a few more players on the pitch, you'll notice we've now got the names imported. So it's imported the names. The good thing about that is, once you've put your names in to start with all your players or your team or your 4 or 5 teams if you've got them, what this does is it gives you the ability to put the names in, come over to the import export, and then actually export them out. So you could have a set of players, and it's now on the clipboard, and then all we would do is we'd come to here again and we'd paste them in, and there it is. You just basically save that file, and that's your team name. Just save it as obviously my team 1 names, and you've then got a collection of all your team's names encrypted that you can set aside, so you could use a various set of teams, or 2 or 3 teams, which some coaches have. So that's quite useful little feature. The steps part is certainly more complicated to build, but what we have got here, this little link that says veryclevermedia.com/library, or ends in library, that will take us to a page which, this is a real Bobby basic page just to give us these little examples. So you can see there's a couple of import export names there for you to play with. But if I import steps 1, what it actually will do is it will grab that information, which is much the same as we've just done a copy and paste, but it's just grabbed a load of information. This is now lit up and allowed us to try and import. So if we click import, you can see it's a fair bit of data there. It's pulled it over and pushed us over, and you'll also notice it's now set us to a 9 and 3 subs, 9 players, 3 subs. So if we click OK and go back to the pitch, and you're thinking, what's happened here? Okay, so this is the end scenario of a given set of steps. There are our players, there's our opposition. Let's list down, and we go into our options. This little fella here. What this now gives us is a set of banks, which go up to 20. I believe this one is on number 7. This is the 7th bank. There's 6 more to sort of show. But what this does is if I now click this one, it'll go back to the start of the step. So this is step 1, that's step 2, and this is basically me saying to my team, this is the sort of formation and the sort of shape I want us to try and put across to the other team while we're on the attack. These are the sort of positions we want. Our wing backs getting right up high in the field, and yeah, and you can see it's just trying to give them all something to adhere to. So as you can see, that's how we ended up on the last one. What we actually will do, we'll show the slider as well while we're here. So the slider is just a way of going up through this, and you can drop back if someone wasn't quite understanding something, you can drop back very briefly, show them what it is, and then continue on where you were. It just gives you a bit more control with a finger or a thumb to slide around. It's also got the quick tool, the sort of quick art board there as well, so if you wanted to quickly describe something across the pitch, or where a player should be running, so they kind of start on that star and we want these two guys running over to this position, and then you go back and it'll jump you straight back to where you were before. So as you can see, it's just giving us a nice visual cue of what's going to happen for those particular players, and you can draw straight on the pitch, which is quite nice while they're animating. You can understand that'd be very good for showing offsides and all sorts of other stuff if you want to build those in. I haven't got examples of that in this particular demo, don't think we need to. You can probably have some fun putting those together yourself. But if I now go to bank 1 and I click on the slider, click this to reset everything, you'll notice what it does is it gives us a sort of a kick-off formation. So what if I was coaching my team here, I'd be saying to them, okay, when we kick off, I want us to, like they do on the telly, launch the ball into the kind of corner over towards this throw-in line. We don't want a goal kick, we want to make sure it goes out for throw at worst. If this player obviously picks the ball up and pumps it back upfield, you guys should already have made a fair bit of ground getting down here. So if it comes back to us, let's get it straight back there again and keep the pressure on in this corner and try and build an attack to get the cross in. You guys over here need to get forward and try and expect that cross, because we're hoping to infiltrate this area. And this player is the one that's responsible for that first launching of the ball and maybe picking up the second ball if it comes back. So that would be my instructions, and now we'll try and sort of watch how that evolves. So the ball comes back from the centre, we try and launch it out to the wing would pick it up. We've got pressure coming down the right hand side, we've also got support coming through the middle. We've managed to find a ball through, we're now onside, we're in an attacking spot, we've got 3 potential attackers. We've beaten the speed of these other players because we know obviously we've got the plan, they don't. The ball's come across, and now there's a number of things obviously that could happen here. What I could actually do here is jump to, if I go back to, I mean I can do it from here, if I click that, this player takes a straight shot. If I go back to my letters, I just know that just from when I've done this is where the ball comes across. Now I can actually pick a different player that I wanted to receive the ball, so in this case it would be that person, and then they shoot. So if we do that all again, I can now get the cross in again, but I can pick a different person this time, and then they take the shot, because the steps only run from the previous one, so you can hop between them, and it gives different players a different opportunity to see themselves get that ball. So there's the third one. So yeah, you can see all 3 strikers there got a chance, all 3 attacking players got a chance to get the shot on and finish off the move. So that's quite useful. It's certainly useful for showing you can build a kind of a set of steps up, and you can leave 2 or 3 at the bottom that just have slight variations of what could happen. And then if you sort of try and think ahead, once you've used a little bit, it will really help be able to get through a couple of possibilities without having to redo a whole new bank. Okay, so let's quickly look at bank 2. Again, if you click this, click up the top there, it'll fly everything back. Okay, so this is a similar thing again, except this time if I press that little button at the top, you'll notice it auto plays, so it'll just do it for you without you having to worry. It's moving quite quickly, so we're thinking, okay, what am I looking at? It's all gone a bit quick, I can't see what's going on. So if it's a bit too quick, take these little options here. There's smoothing options, so it smooths in and smooths out. It kind of exponentially grows in speed each move, or it starts slow and then nips up quick, or it starts sorry, actually this one is starting slow and nips up quick, that one's starting quick and nips up slow. So yeah, and that one's just like the constant speed. So let's just try the constant speed one, see how that looks. Click that, bring us back to the start. Okay, so again, give it a click, we're all back to the start, and then press this little button for autoplay, and you can see it's a little bit more fluid and running in the sort of the speed we're expecting it to, but still a little bit quick. So let's just adjust that as well. And here's the speed settings. So if we want to make that a lot slower, we click that one, go back to the slider again. I mean, you don't have to go back to the slider, you could take this one. It's just obviously it's just, this is one that is you do control each step with each tap. The slider just gives you a little bit more options, and you can autoplay. And notice this is a variation of what we just done. This is where we're trying to launch the ball in the corner, except this time the opposition actually gets the ball first, and they kind of clear it away because we continue to maintain pressure on them, and this one of these players picks up the ball and keeps the pressure on that wing. So let's watch that in action. Play the centre, go for the long ball down to the left. It's a little bit too close to the defender, who picks it up. He's under pressure, decides to lump it away. Ball bounces to this player here, who then gets a first time ball straight down at the winger. Winger's already up there, picks up the ball, gets the cross in, and we're back to where we were before now, with the players up front getting an option to shoot. So you can see the speed makes a lot of difference to how we can kind of teach or coach these things. If I just go for, I believe that's one of my favourite ones, so let's just stick with that, and a little bit quicker. Okay, yeah, let's go with that. Okay, and then we'll just move on to the last couple, and then we're pretty much done. So this one here, scenario 3, would be a corner, and what I'm trying to explain here is this player here, who is obviously being well marked. We want this player to try and draw out of this space, and we want this player to just at the latest point sneak in and try and get a shot off from this angle here. These players are all potentially, if we've got this plan, we've talked about it before the match, when we call it something, we're all aware that this is a possibility. So if we just take this step by step, you can see each player's moving, they're drawing the space, they're trying to move the space, and now the CDM has actually made his move. This player's now made his run into the area we're after. The corner comes in, and you can see he's got a decent shot on goal. So that's, in a perfect world, would be lovely. Whether it goes like that or not, who knows. But if we now go to the next step, you can see I've kind of gone back to the corner. We're now going for a different alternative. So if that player actually gets closed down, that space, they see it coming, we've now got a nice diagonal line across the corner. So we want to get that ball in across that diagonal line and give us our best chance of getting some contact on the ball. And looks like AG Ash has got a touch on it. So yeah, that's kind of what we're trying to inform the players. That's what we need to do if that hole gets blocked. So we take the corner again, and now what we want to do is whip it across the face of the goal. And you'll notice the little tail on the ball. That's why I kind of shortened it right at the start of this tutorial, because 4 seconds is more than enough time for us to determine where the ball's gone. If you have it too long, it sort of gets in the way and the screen gets a bit crazy, as you can see. So that's that particular formation. If we go number 4, it's just 2 more left now. What we'll do, tap that button, quick look at throw-ins. So for the throw-in for the game, very often we want to go down the line. Very often the mistake that a lot of us make is that we tend to fill that space too early. We don't give that corridor a chance to breathe. So this is trying to just teach the players movement is essential here. We need to move these players around, make them think they're getting the ball, which makes this player, the throw-in taker, not to be looking down the line all the time. We don't want them just standing there looking down the line with the ball. You'll notice the ball just moves a bit, because we want them to actually move their body position, look around a bit, look as if they're going to throw a square, giving these guys the thought that actually we need to quickly, get goal side, or at least in front of the ball, so they can't throw it there. By the time we're moving, this person's now made a run over, which is of course creating space, and that's this guy's cue to actually get down this channel. You can see as we move it on, it gives him a good example of how we can infiltrate that sort of move. So if we do that in a play mode, you can see we're moving, we're off. Let's get that ball across and then see if we can convert. So again, it's just a nice easy way of explaining how to get the best from throw-ins. So let's run that a little bit slower, makes a bit more sense. The movement is essential here. We've got to pull players around, we've got to get the markers moving, and then that creates that space. Joe already knows what's going to happen, so he's waiting for the moment, or she's waiting for the moment to actually fly down that wing. And that's that one. Okay, so if we just now go to bank 5, This is the last one. Sorry, this is kind of a two-part one. 5 goes into 6. It's quite a long scenario, but if I'm honest, again, this isn't necessarily something that would always, you would sort of, you're not trying to plan something here, you're just trying to explain what movement in space can do to give ourselves some options. We're really tightly marked here. We're trying to get a good goal kick. There's a bit of a hole there you could kick into. There's also kind of a bit of space there, but what we're probably trying to achieve is movement. Get moving around, try and move these players, and if we actually try and get 2 of our players running very close together, there's a chance we might confuse the opposition very slightly. And again, if I can just get the arc pad up, we can show the space that we actually want to try and infiltrate in the end, which is here. And then what we're going to hope to try and achieve is, once we've got that ball in the space, we also want to try and make some use of this space as well. So the 2 spaces that these 2 players run out of, bringing their markers with them, they should hopefully create new space, which, if we're fortunate, we might be able to get some passes up and down the field and get this sort of movement going. So if we were to run that on, you'll see, if I try and do it step by step, we're moving around, we're pulling players, we've come together there in this area to try and literally bring these 2 defenders, or whoever they are, midfielders, trying to bring them into a closed space, relinquishing the space behind them where they just left. And now the keeper should, if we're sort of half on the same page, should be pushing the ball into this space. It's going to be a tricky one. We could still get intercepted, it could be dangerous, but we are tightly marked, so we've got to do something. So this is what happens. We push the ball there, we just get to it first, but now there's this nice bit of space opened up here. We've got space here, and these 2 players are in a decent position to pick the ball up if we can get that touch, which we do. We get the touch. This player is now free to make his run forward, or her run forward. These 3 or 4 players here have now got options. We've got a run up here, we've got a run across, we've got this player could push into the holes. So we've got plenty of options, and this fella here has now got space, which is nice. So if they knock it forward, which they've done, they've pushed it to the midfielder. Now the midfielder's got options. This player here has got an option to go forward, this player here has got an option to go long. Being the centre forward, you'd expect to have a bit of speed. Same with this sort of left midfield wing player. So this player here, this is just in this scenario, and we're just talking through scenarios rather than actually making plans. The game runs far too quick for these sort of plans to be accurately mapped out. It's just trying to explain what may be the best option in certain positions, and you can talk about it with the players as well, which really helps, of course. So the players picked up the ball in this part of the park. They've got space around them, they've got time to look up. So for me personally, I would say take another touch, draw the opposition in, don't let it go until they get close enough, because then you've drawn some players and given your teammates a chance to get even more space, which this player has here. This one's keeping on side. I'll just go back so that you can see it again. They did start to make a run out, expecting the ball to go. It never came. So they just thought, right, I'm not going to run into an offside position. I'm actually just going to keep the line and stay with this player, which is what they do. So again, you've got a ball there if you want it, but in this case we've ended up going there, which is where the bigger space is. You've got the same situation again, 2 or 3 spaces around. A first time ball came in, and now we're breaking on the wing. This guy's got the run on this one. This lass has got the run on this one. She's ahead, and so is this one at the back here. This player's got the run all the way down the back corner if the ball goes that far. So we've got a good bit of momentum here to come in and try and do some attacking damage. So as you can see, we run out of steps here, so all you really need to do is just go back, go to number 6, click on the first one, which is just copy it over from the other, and I'll show you how to copy in a moment. And now we literally just sort of finish off the move really. And again, I've tried to make use of that ability to use 3 or 4 steps. You can see it moves between 3 or 4 steps. So that just literally means, if we go back to this part, literally means you can whip that ball to the back post, or you can knock it into the near post, or knock it into the middle. And then there's a finish on G, I believe, for goal. Yeah, so we get the ball here. Let's see if we can get Joe a finish, whip it over to the back, and then a straight shot into the corner. That's there. So again, we could show how that could work. If it was crossed to the near post, we'll literally get it in there, press the G, and we know we've got a shot on. Get it to the cross point again, and let's get AG on at this time. Actually, go back one. AG is on the E, so yeah, go to that one and then shoot. And there's a few different examples there. So again, you'll get this message when there's no information on the slot. So if you've got a blank slot with nothing on it, it'll tell you that by doing this, and it'll also reset the little ball back to where you last were. So if we're here and it goes back to G, these little fellas, these little icons here, the yellow one is the one that actually allows you to record, or to make a different move. When I moved that player to there, then pressed H, which is the next step along, that's where we clicked, and then we go back to these banks. You'll notice it does the move. So again, if we just go to number 7, just clear down the graphics palette as well. So if we go down to number 7 and we reset it back to normal. Just very quickly how to actually, yeah, so we've got a basic setup there. That's where we've started number 7. It's just there. So if we now want to do another bank, we literally come here, click on these, and we've now stamped this position at point A. Okay. If we'd done it at B, we'd actually have exactly the same. There's no difference now. So we just step between them, nothing happens. C would give you an error, well, not an error, a warning that there's no data. So quite simply, we want to put some stuff on B. So just supposing, just for argument's sake, I'm going to just run some players around, just so we can see how this all kind of works out. Should do that. This player runs into here, to here, to here. Do this. A little tiny movement forward as they knock the ball down to the winger behind them. And then the winger actually might just pass the ball back to this guy here, which in turn puts a long ball ahead over into this channel. A little bit of movement, picks the ball up, and you can see it's all just literally sort of a form of stop motion animation. And then crosses it in. For a finish. And now if we go back to this one, we'll use the slider because it just animates easier. So now you can see what we've just built. We've made a little play up, long ball over the back, comes across, whips it in and shoots, and there you go. So that's pretty much it. And again, don't forget we've got the art pad here to give us lots of indications of what other people could be doing within this mix, or areas of the pitch we want to try and infiltrate, or even areas of the pitch we don't want to be in, and don't get caught out in this part because of so and so's good offside tactics that this team has got in the last third. All sorts of obviously stuff you could put in with the drawing pad, but explore your options, have a play around, see what you think. I think that's pretty much covered everything. Yeah, I think the only thing that leaves me to do now is say thank you very much for helping me test this out and give it a try. There is a part of the website which I think it's somewhere in this link. If you click this, I think it takes you back. Okay, so these are basically all extra bits that I could add into it. I think the one that I would most like to add, which I haven't yet, is the ability to add cones and a few extra training balls and things like that, so you can kind of work out training patterns, mini games, stuff to do with training. It's a little bit tougher than one would expect. A lot of this code and all the business is in there, but obviously if you have got any ideas and you think, oh, I'd really like to do that, that would be good, I'd really like that to happen in this app, just have a quick look here before you detail it, because you could sort of try and explain it over half a paragraph, and then actually realise it's already in here. But if it's not, please by all means let me know, I'm all ears. But thanks ever so much for testing it for me, and yeah, we'll speak soon. Take care, thank you.